Good day. So, I will be teaching you today at how to use your calculator as a technique to solve for some problem in SRB. Ano po? So, let me have the same example as we have before for us to compare our answer kung tama o hindi. Ano po? So, let me have here two structural members A and B are bolted to the bracket as shown. Knowing that both members are in compression and that the force is 15 kilonewtons in member A and 10 kilonewtons in member B. Determine the magnitude and direction of the resultant of the forces applied to the bracket by members A and B. So we have here two members A and B being acted upon by forces. So um, let us determine the forces or create an axis muna for our reference. So if this will be our axis, ayan. So we have here forces, itong force na to, see ito, this will be the the 15 kilonewtons acting from member A, and this is 10 kilonewtons, the force acting at B. So by principle of transmissibility, itong 10 kilonewton matatransmit dito through the line of action. Say, I may use this as, can I coin this as force B? Then can I coin this as force A? Ano po? So si force B, translated dito with an angle of, if this is 20, yung kanyang alternate angle is, ano po, or opposite angle rather, is 20 din. Then ito, si A, si force A will be translated dito, ano po, and this will be angle 40 degrees. Ano po, as we discussed. Ano po. Then, for a clearer view, let me create an FBD. So let me have here, yan, ano po. So this will be your y-axis and this will be our x-axis. So the forces A o the force A ay nandito po. So si force A and this is the 40 degrees. But doing this technique, guys, ano po, you have to refer all your angles from the positive x-axis. So, dito natin i-refer lahat. So, that if this is 40 degrees, ano po, for sure, itong angle na to is 50 degrees. Ano po, agree naman lahat kasi this quadrant must be 90 degrees. Then, your force B, the other force B, from here, nandito siya. If this angle, so this is force B, if this angle is 20 degrees and this is 90, so all in all, you have 110 degrees. Tama po ba? Measured from the positive x-axis, clockwise. Ano po? Yes, clockwise. So if this force B, this angle is 110 degrees. Ano po? So, actually, you can measure it here clockwise. Ano po? If you're going to measure it clockwise, that is amounting to 250 degrees. Ano po? But you have to make sure, class, ano po, you have to consider from your trigonometry, if an angle measured clockwise, it must be negative, and an angle measured counterclockwise is positive. Pero, sir, bakit dito hindi nyo nilagyan ng negative 50 and negative 100? Kasi, the arrow indicates its direction na. Kasi, di ba, class, that negative and positive is actually an indication of its direction on how angle was being measured. Ano po? So, kung measure mo siya clockwise, ano po? Kung isusulat mo siya, negative 50. Pero sa illustration, 50 lang kasi this arrow indicates na naka-clockwise siya. Ano po? Now, we're gonna solve this using vector form. Ano po? The vector form. Ano po? So, ano yung vector form? When you say vector, it must be magnitude po, multiplied by the direction. Ano po? By symbol, say I have here force F or vector F. Ano po? It must be the magnitude of F. So, the magnitude is being represented by this F. Ano po? Or absolute value of F. Tapos, multiplied by its direction. Ano po, in this case, ang gagamitin natin direction is by the symbol bar angle ang tawag, yung kanyang theta. Ano po? So again, theta must be negative if that is measured clockwise, positive kapag counterclockwise. Therefore, it follows that vector A o force A is having the magnitude of 15 kilonewtons. Ano po? Bar angle negative 50 degrees. Again, kaya naging negative kasi pa-clockwise. And therefore, it follows also that B, ano po, o force B is 10 kilonewtons bar angle negative 110 degrees. Ano po? Or, kung sinukat nga natin siya dito, ano po, it can also be written as 10 kilonewtons bar angle positive 250 degrees. So, maalin dyan ang gagamitin nyo? Ano po? Kasi di ba class, ano bang hinihingi? Resultant. Ano po? The resultant must be vector. Ano po? Is equal to the vector sum of A and B. And when you see vector sum, you must consider the magnitude and the direction. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na 10 plus 15 lang yan and the resultant is 25. No, you have to consider and may factor si direction. Ano po? So, you're going to add R is equal to A, which is 15 kilonewtons. Ano po? Bar angle negative 50 degrees plus 10 kilonewtons bar angle negative 110 degrees. The thing is, paano natin pipindutin kay calculator? Ano po? So, reset ko muna. Paano kayo mag-reset ng calculator? Everything is clear. Shift, clear, all na lang. Ano po? Yan, tapos equals, ano po? Yan, AC. Ano po? So, wala na yung naka-store. Lahat ng settings is na-reset. Ano po? So, your calculator must be in complex mode. So, mode, tapos piliin nyo po yung complex 2. Ano po? So, paano ko pipindutin yon? So, pindutin yung 15. Yung kilonewton is just a unit. Yun nga lang, you have to make sure na kung ito yung naka-kilonewton, the other must be also in kilonewtons. Ano? You can never add two values with different units. Ano po? So, you have to make sure muna bago kayo mag-add na they are expressed in the same unit. Or else, you will come up with the wrong answer. Ano po? So, this 15 unit of kilonewton, no need to press that. Ano po? Then, the angle. So, that will be shift. Kita nyo itong minus na to. Negative yung taas is angle. Then, negative 50 plus 10 kilonewton shift bar angle negative 110. Ano po? Equals. Yan. So, that will be negative 100. May mali tayo, no? So, it should be ulitin natin. Ano po? So, 15 bar angle negative 50 plus 10 bar angle negative 110. Ano po? Equals. Yan. So, yun, para makita nyo, yun, ba yan lalabas? Para makita nyo yung buo, pindutin yung SD, and the resultant na lumabas is equal to 6.2216 minus 20.8876 ano po, that is in kilonewton. Dito na lang kayo maglagay ng unit. Ano po? So, ang tawag dito, ano po, ang tawag sa form na yan is the rectangular form. Rectangular form. Ano po? Yun nga lang, ano po, tatandaan natin, medyo familiar ba itong lumabas? Yes, kasi parang sa aking familiar, nung kumuha ko ng summation of f of x, ito ang lumabas. And, of course, ito, including the sign, is the summation of f of y sa pagkakatanda ko, sir. Ano po? So, ibig sabihin, through this, makukuha niyo po yung kanyang summation of f of x and summation of f of y. Ano po? Then, how I'm going to paano po ako kukuha naman ng magnitude ng resultant? Ano po? So, dito sa atin, first thing, para hindi mawala yung inyong sinold, i-store nyo muna. Ano po? So, shift, yung RCL. Yung ibig sabihin ng RCL, recall. Ano po? Pero yung STO sa taas, store. Ano po? RCL, tapos pili ka ng letter A, B, C, D, E, F, X, Y, and M. Ano po? So, sabi ko sa A. So, yan. Naka-store na yan kay M. Ano po? Nandun pa rin siya. So, this is our rectangular form. So, dadalhin mo siya dun sa tinatawag natin na polar form. Yung polar form ay ito. So, yung R natin is equal to, pipindutin niyo po yung shift, tapos yung 2, kasi yung complex na nasa taas, 2, tapos yung 1 is argument, ano po, yun yung angle, ano po, later makukuha natin yan, yung 2 is conjugate, when you say conjugate, limbawa binigyan ko yun ng 3 plus 4i, ano po, magiging 3 minus 4i lang, so nababago lang yung sign sa gitna, so yun yung sinasabing conjugate, ano po, yung number 3, yun yung polar form, doon natin siya dadalhin. And yung number 4, siya yung rectangular form. So, kung gusto mo dalhin ulit dito, sa rectangular form, 4 ang iyong pipindutin. So, this case, 3. So, yun. Yung answer mo daw, convert natin in polar form, yun ang lalabas. So, that will be yung, yan, para makita nyo ng buo. So, mas sakto yun, 5 is square root of 19. So, if you want decimal, pindutin yung SD, that will be 21.7945 kilonewtons per angle, negative 73.41. So, for the angle, I allow 2 decimal places. Pero sa magnitude, you have to write at least 4 decimal places. Ano po? So, yan. This is our magnitude and this is our angle kung tutuusin. So, if we're going to plot it sa ating graph, nandito po yung ating resultant. Nandito siya. Ano po? Paano ko nalaman, sir? The magnitude is given as 21 and the angle is negative 73. And don't forget, guys, every angle, since lahat ay naka-refer sa x-axis, even your answer must be or referred into x-axis. Ano po? So, dito siya sinukat. Bakit pababa? Kasi negative clockwise. Ano po? So, dito siya nasukat. Ano po? So, yan yung ating magnitude. Now, ngayon, sir, gusto kong kunin yung magnitude, ano po, nang siya lang kasi gagamitin ko sa solution later. Ano po? So, paano ko siya kunin? Shift mode ko ulit. Shift mode, shift 2. Ano po? Tapos, kunin mo yung, Ano po? Shift, nasaan yun? Absolute. Yun, di ba? Shift, height, yung absolute sa taas, yung iyong ni-store na A, equals, makukuha mo yung 5 square root of 19 o 21.7945. Ano po? Kung gusto mo makuha naman yung angle, shift 2, tapos yung 1, yung argument, nino. Yung argument ng sagot natin kanina, which is stored at A, equals yun, negative 73.41. Ano po? So, sir, bakit yung sagot natin ng isang araw? Di ka po nandito ang resultant. Ano po? Nandito. Ito yung naging sagot natin na 73.41. Ang nakuha nating angle ng isang araw ay ito kasi nirefer ko siya sa negative y kasi mas malapit siya doon. Ano po? Nangyari lang kasi by solution na lumabas ay ito. Hindi lalabas to class. Ano po? Kasi lahat ng angle natin as we use here was referred from the positive x-axis. So, ang gagawin mo, if this is 90 degrees, isusubtract mo na lang sa 90. Ano po? So, that will be yung ating 90 degrees minus yung 73.41. Ano po? So, 90 minus 73.41. So, yun lalabas. Yung 16.59 na sagot natin sa isang araw. Yung 16 na yun, if this is the resultant, dito yung sinukat from the negative y. Ano po? So, again, as I was saying, madami naman possible na sagot. Ano po? Iisa ang tinutukoy, ibig sabihin lang, iba't iba lang tayo ng reference. Kaya better if you can have the statement on your answer na it was measured from the negative x, positive x, negative y, or better yet, pakita nyo po sa drawing. Ano po? But as we use this technique, automatic na refer tayo sa positive x-axis. Although, you can refer it in any axis. Pwede ka mag-refer sa positive y, negative x, but you have to make sure na lahat ay doon naka-refer. Ano po? Pero for the uniformity of our solution, better for us to express na lang or refer to the positive x-axis to avoid confusion. Ano po? So this is a technique that I can share to you. Okay, so let's have here another example. Determine the resultant of the forces assumed. So, if this will be our axis, create tayo ng ating FBD po. So, I'm creating our uh, reference axis po. Yan. Then, our forces will be, we have 60 pounds here. 60 pounds. Of course, this is our positive X and positive Y. And the angle is measured 25 degrees counterclockwise. So we have here a force 40 pounds. So 40 pounds. And the angle measured from the positive x-axis counterclockwise, clockwise rather, ano po, is 60 degrees. And another force, 50 newtons, or 50 pounds rather, ano po, was measured from the positive x-axis at an angle of how much? So it's 90 plus 50, so that is 140. So this is positive 140 degrees. So if you're going to add the resultant will be 60 pounds. 60 pounds per angle, it's 25 degrees. Positive kasi counterclockwise plus your 40 pounds. 40 pounds per angle negative 60 degrees. Then, you have plus your force 50 pounds per angle negative 140 degrees. So, sa calculator natin, the resultant will be 15 to 10. Again, naka-complex mode. It's 60. Ito pala. 60 per angle 25 plus so 40 per angle negative 60. So don't forget the negative. Negative 60 plus 50 per angle negative 140 equals, so that's our polar rectangular form. So 36.0762 minus 41.4233 ay ano po. So again, this is our summation of f of x which is positive. So if you're going to draw this, pag ganyan siya, ano po. Tapos ang ating summation of f of y is negative. So pababa siya. So, basically, ang ating resultant ay nasa 4th quadrant. So, probably nandito siya. Ano po? Sa 4th quadrant na yon. But, how are we going to solve for the magnitude of the resultant using your calculator? Ano po? It's mode. Store nyo muna ulit. Shift, store. Gusto nyo sa B naman. Ano po? Sa B. So, shift to 3. Yung answer natin equals, so you have 54.9307 bar angle negative 48.95. Ano po? So, tama. Nandito yan. Probably nandito yung ating resultant. At an angle, 48.95 clockwise from the positive x-axis. Ano po? So, yun. Sir, what if I express the angle of 50 pounds, say measured counterclockwise. So this is 220. Tama po ba? 220 degrees. Ano po? So, tama naman, di ba? So that is 360 minus 360 minus 140 is 220. Ano po? So, ang angle na yun, gagamitin natin. Ano po? So, pwedeng Pag sinolve natin siya, that is 50 pounds per angle, or 60 pounds rather. Ito muna, 60 pounds per angle, 25 pa rin, plus, erase natin to. Baka mapagkamalaan yung negative. No. So, per angle 25 degrees, plus 40 pounds per angle 60 degrees, o negative 60. Plus, yung 50 pounds, ang gagamitin natin is bar angle positive 220. Ano? So, kung pipindutin natin yan sa calculator, we have 60 bar angle 25 plus 40 bar angle negative 60 plus 50 bar angle 220. So, you must come up with the same answer. Ano po? So, ayan. Shift 2-3 lang tayo. Para diretso na ako ng polar form. So, you come up with the same answer. Ano po? So, it's about getting the right angle, the right direction. Ano po? And, of course, 95 degrees. Ano? So, kailangan tama. Madali to, pero kailangan tama yung inyong mga forces na i-add. So lastly, let's have this example na pabalik where we can apply subtraction of vector. So a trolley that moves along a horizontal beam is acted upon by two forces as shown. So in this case, ano po, determine by trigonometry the magnitude and direction of force P so that the resultant is a vertical force of 2,500 newtons. So as I was saying, there are two forces acting here, that 1,600 newtons with its given angle, and a force P which is unknown and also unknown direction. Ano po? But this case, given sa resultant, ano po? The magnitude of the resultant is 2,500 newton, but acting vertically. Ano po? So, if this is the vertical axis, how are you going to draw the direction of the resultant? Are you going to draw it upward? Kasi there are two possible answer or two possible direction of the resultant. Kasi sabi niya lang, vertical. Ano po? So, pwede siyang upward, pwede siyang downward. Pero, practically speaking, it should be downward. Why? Kasi as you look ano po, dun sa ating mga forces, it can never produce a resultant that is upward. Ano po, it's so impossible. So, that is also part of the problem na kayo yung so, parang not directly binibigay. Ano? So, in this case, if we're going to create an reference axis or FBD muna, so, yan. This will be our y-axis. In our x-axis, there are two forces acting here. The first one is this 1,600 newtons. Ano po, acting at this angle, this is 15 degrees. Ano po, so if that is 15 degrees, I can measure it from the positive x-axis. Ano po, at an angle of, this is 180, tama, plus 15, so that will be 195 degrees. Ano po? Tama. Or, measure dito. So, 180 minus 15, it's 165. Tama po ba? Ano? So, pwede mo siyang ma-measure doon. Ano po? So, sabihin natin sa taas na lang. Ano po? Then, another force P. Ano po? Is force P. Yan. Which is unknown ang kanyang value. And this angle is given as alpha. Ano po? So, and the resultant is directly downward. Ano po? So, the resultant, if that is given as 2,500 Newton magnitude, and the angle must be negative 90. Kasi directly downward. Ano po? If that is to be measured from the positive x-axis clockwise. Ano po? So, therefore, the resultant R is equal to the sum of this, I suppose this is vector A muna. So, the vector A plus that unknown P. So, this is given, this is given, this is unknown. So, we're looking for P. So, therefore, we can say that P is equal to R minus A. Tama po ba? If we're going to transpose it here, magma-minus yun kasi we're looking for P. Ano po? So, the resultant R is 2,500 newtons per angle negative 90 degrees minus A, where A is 1,600 newtons per angle. We're going to use that 195 positive. Ano po? So, P is equal to, on our calculator, 2,500 newtons per angle negative 90 minus, ano po, minus 1,000. So, this is the time na ma-apply mo yung subtraction of vector. 1,600 bar angle, positive 195. So, you have to make sure na tama yung angle na ginagamit. Ano po? Kasi baka dun pa kayo sumablay. So, meron tayong nakuha dito. It's 1,545.4813 minus 2,085. Ano po? 0.8895. So, itong nakuha nyo na to ay, in terms of Newton, actually, yung nakuha nyo na to is the P sub x o yung component ni P sa x. Ito yon, which is tama, positive. Tama, diga? Tapos, ito, nakuha nyo po is this is the P sub y, which is negative. And tama, pababa siya dito. So, nagko-conform yung ating mga values. Ano po? So, si P sub y natin, nandito. Ngayon, I'm asking for the magnitude. No po? So, if you're asking for the magnitude, can I write it here? The magnitude of P, no. The magnitude of P is equal to, yung store nyo muna, shift, store, gusto nyo sa C naman. Ano po? So, shift 2, 3, polar form po natin. So, that will be, sulit natin kanina. Ayan, shift 2, 3, nawala. Polar form equals, so 200 o 1,596.0446 bar angle, ito ko nalagay, negative 53.46. And again, this is in pounds. So, ang resultant natin ay yung value ng P natin ay nandito. It is 2,596. And yung angle na solve, dahil nga yung lahat yan ay naka-refer sa x-axis, ito yun. Ito yung 53.46 degrees. But we are asked to solve for the alpha. If this is 90, to solve for alpha, that is 90 minus nung 53.46. Tama po ba? So, alpha will be 90 minus 53.46 and gives you how much? 36.54 degrees. So, yun. I think tama tayo dun sa sagot natin ng una. So, this is so much useful, but then again, you can use this using through our exam to check your answer, but I need a complete solution using component or trigonometry. Ano po? So, you can only use this as a technique. Sinare ko lang sa inyo para may something naman kayong bagong natutunan. Ano po?